Hey, welcome to our first tutorial. In this, we're going to be making a plate and then taking that plate and making it a negative space plate. We'll be starting off with some Cyclamen Dr. P.H. Martin's watercolor, the effervescent translucent dye. It is more of like the redder pink. It's less purple, more red. But it's a good base for a bottom plate. It's dark enough that you get good contrast with the oil. Um, so here I'm mixing in with isopropyl alcohol, 70%. That allows for the whole mixture to kind of slow down compared to when you mix with oil. When you mix with water and oil. Water and oil will kind of reset very quickly, but the isopropyl likes to stick to the glass and everything slows down because of that. And what you see me doing here is just making sure that both plates are really covered in that dye and really, covered in that isopropyl. And we're going to throw a little bit more in there, and then we add in the oil. You might see some specks of dye floating in the mixture there. That comes with the Dr. P.H. Martin's dyes. If you let them sit for too long, they tend to come out of solution, and you have to rehydrate them, or just throw them in your plate and mix it up really quickly. Either way works. But this is the basis of a fast plate, according to my understanding, is just dye and a solvent in the plate. But now we're going to add some oil and make it a squish plate. And you'll see here, but you want to mix the dyed solvent into the oil. You want to start in the solvent and push it into the oil. That'll give you the best overall mixture and make sure that you're not getting that oil stuck to the glass. You want to really, really, really make sure that that oil doesn't stick to the glass when you put it in first, because if it does, you'll spend 10 minutes trying to get it off. And you can see here that, wherever I press down, it is significantly lighter than the rest of the plate. As it goes outward, it hits that darker, redder pink. And that's the effect we're going to go for when we try to make it a negative space plate. We want to bring all of the plate into that high contrast, darker range of the dye. And that's just through putting more dye in the solution. You need to bring the percentage of dye that's in there to a greater amount. And on top of that, you need to make sure that the RGB values that you're adding lend themselves to a higher contrast. So if you don't have any working knowledge of color theory, the easiest way to think about it is in units of light. You have a red light, you have a green light, and a blue light. So I've put in 1 unit of red. Now we're going to put in another unit of blue. So that'll give us overall, 2 units of dye in there. But the metaphor kind of keeps going. When you get to mixing in that third one in green, it has a Tetris effect where they all cancel each other out. And that canceling each other out is what we're looking for. That increases the contrast between the dyed parts of the liquid and the oil. And as you see, the center is still lighter than the outer edges, but that center is smaller now. So I'm adding in yellow to create green. And then I think I'm going to add in a little bit more red. I didn't put enough in at the beginning. But you'll see as I mix it in that hot spot in the center gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And yeah, you can see the purple kind of coming through, and that's because I didn't add enough red. We're still too deep in the blue tones. But yeah, as you can see, I zoomed in, but that hot spot is smaller than my fingernail now. And the blobs that are coming off of it are incredibly contrasted to the liquid they're in. And as you see, they're coming off it very slowly, and that's due to the 70% isopropyl alcohol. Also, shout out Steve Pavlovsky, Liquid Light Lab, for the glass. We're getting some great squishes off of this glass we got from him. Thanks, Steve. But yeah, there you have it, guys. That's a negative space plate. I think I just added in some more red here to try and neutralize a little bit of that blue. And I'm mixing it in again. But it'll come back and you'll see. that hotspot gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's what we're looking for. And as we wrap up the creation of this negative space plate, some of the best uses of this are in tandem with plates that aren't this dark. If you run a whole show that's this dark, you're going to have some issues with bands being able to see their pedals. But it really shines as the lead, kind of compositional item in a composition made up of more washed out colors, or maybe more vibrant but very saturated and filling the whole screen kind of effect colors. Whereas this will punch right through with those bubbles, but you'll sort of lose out on the blue. You won't really see it as much. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll be posting more, so stay tuned. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions about what we're doing or how you can improve your practice and technique, shoot us a question on Instagram @StrangerLiquids.